Guess what, everybody? It's that time of year again. It's Sale Bowl time. The competition is going to be kicking off on September 29th this year. If you've competed before, you kind of know the routine. But if you haven't competed before, I'm going to be explaining to you what you're going to need and how you're going to compete. Okay, so the very first thing that you need to do in order to compete in the Cell Bowl competition is with your cell phone, you need to download the Cellivision Cell Atlas app. Okay, so this is an app you're going to have on your cell phone. Now, some people, I believe, in the past have been able to download it on their iPad, so that might be an option for you if you don't want to play on your cell phone. But you need to have it on your cell phone or an iPad so you can take a screenshot, and I'll explain the screenshot in a minute. So you either need to go to Google Play or on your iPhone, go to the App Store, type in Cellivision Cell Atlas, and this will be the little icon that you should be looking for the Cell Atlas app, and you're going to want to install it. This is a free download for this app. Okay, and within this app, after you get it downloaded, it's going to look like this on your cell phone. Okay. In order to compete in the Cell Bowl competition, we're going to be using this cell quiz. Okay. You're going to click on the cell quiz in order to see different cells, different blood cells. So basically, the whole concept of the Cell Bowl is you're trying to identify different blood cells. And this is a timed quiz, and you've got 60 seconds to identify up to 30 images. So you're trying to identify as many as you can in that 60-second period. Now, each week you have a week to play before you have to turn in a high score. So you can play as many times as you want to. You don't just have to play one time and turn in that score to me. And there's links on Moodle that we'll talk about in a minute that that's where you're going to be submitting your score. But play as many times as you can to get the highest score you possibly can. And the highest score is what you're going to be submitting to me for your highest score of the week. Okay? But this right here in the app is where you're going to go to play the quiz for the Cell Bowl. There is some other features in the Cell Atlas app. There's some descriptions of cells. Even after the Cell Bowl, I would keep it on your phone. That way you can reference back to it and kind of compare what cells should look like versus what cells shouldn't look like. There's all kinds of good little information and even videos on this app. So this is a really good app. It's just the app that we happen to use for the Cell Bowl. If you look over here, this is kind of what it's going to look like when you start the quiz. You're going to be given a whole panel of images, and it's going to tell you which or what type of cell it wants you to look for. So it's asking you to identify a small lymphocyte. So you're going to go and click on whichever one you think is the small lymphocyte. If it turns green, that's correct. If it turns red, then it's incorrect. And again, here's your little timer. It'll start over here with 60 seconds. And as the seconds count down, the little clock will count down. And your score will show up in a pie chart at the end after the quiz session is over. And it'll say, oh, you identified 10 out of 30 or 15 out of 30 or however many. And don't feel bad if the first few times you play you don't do very well. That's okay. Especially if you're in the first year class, we're just now getting into identifying cells. So this is good practice, and that's why we compete and play in the Cell Bowl, is to help you guys learn and identify cells. If you become really good at this app and doing the quiz, and you're able to identify all 30 images in less than 60 seconds, you'll start getting a time as your score. So that's considered a perfect score, and they're giving you however many seconds it takes you to identify the 30 images. So that's really good. Okay, so just to explain to you a little bit more how the National Cell Bowl works, it is a national competition. So there's schools that have signed up all across the U.S. to compete in this competition. And these are programs that either have an MLT program like us or an MLS program, a 4-year program. And there's other MLT programs or MLS programs in North Carolina that are competing. Last year, our closest rival was AB Tech in Asheville. So that's kind of our rival school. So kind of keep that in mind. We want to beat them if we can. But since this is a national competition, they kind of got us divided up in regions. The East Coast states are in the East Coast Division, and that's where we're going to be competing for the first 3 weeks of competition. And there is the West Coast Division, which of course is the states in the western part of the U.S. The next 2 weeks, the 4th and 5th week, are the semifinals, and the 6th week is the Super Cell Bowl. So you have to qualify to get to the semifinals in the Super Cell Bowl. So we're going to compete as a school and turn in scores for 4 weeks, just in case we make it to the semifinals. If we do good and continue and are able to continue, we'll of course keep turning in scores for more weeks after the 4th week. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Hopefully we'll do well enough. We almost made it to the semifinals last year. We were only, I think, 2 or 3 spots away from going to semifinals last year. So, I mean, it's a good possibility we may go to semifinals. Now I just want to take a few minutes and show you some highlights and brag about the competition last year. This was some images of our Cell Bowl kickoff. This is the day that we started competing last year in the Cell Bowl. So I will try to bring some snacks for kickoff next week. Now you will have, since we didn't get to meet this past week, you guys will have already submitted your first high scores before I see you in lab this week, but I'll still bring snacks to celebrate the kickoff. So that was a fun little event last year, and you can see the students competing on their cell phones trying to get high scores. Some people, like I said, competed on an iPad. So that's kind of up to you, whichever one you're feeling more comfortable putting the app on. So let's look at some of our score highlights from last year. For week 1 of competition, for the East Coast Division, we were number 9, and this was out of about 30 teams competing in the East Coast. So that's not too shabby for week 1 out of 30 teams. Of course, there's AB Tech in Asheville. Here's week 2. We went up to spot 8 for the East Coast Division. There's our rival, AB Tech, in 6th place, so we're getting a little bit closer. This was national rankings. This was East Coast and West Coast. So we were at 18 by the 2nd week nationally. Again, not too shabby. By week 3 for the East Coast Division, we were still holding steady in 8th place. But look at there, we jumped ahead of AB Tech. And then for national rankings, East and West Coast, we were 16. So we're moving on up nationally. For week 4, we ranked number 7. So that's pretty good. Moved up 1 more spot. Where's our AB Tech friends? Oh, they've dropped all the way down to 17. They must not have had good scores that week. So that was just for week 4. But overall, the combined scores for all 4 weeks, this is what we were really proud of. And this is just East Coast. We were 5th. We were 5th. If we had been 3rd, we would have went to the semifinals. So we were only 2 spots away from going to semifinals last year. So hopefully this year we can score well enough that we'll go to semifinals. For overall national rankings, we ended up being 12th in the nation, and that was about out of about 60 total teams. Remember I said there was about 30 or so teams in just the East Coast division? Well, combined East Coast and West Coast, there was about 60 total teams competing last year. So 12 nationally is not too shabby. And of course, we do some selfies and some class pictures along the way. So here was one of our images that we submitted to National Cell Ball that they posted on their National Cell Ball selfie board. So that was our little group with our little scores. So now we need to talk about how you're going to submit your high scores to me each week. So at the very bottom of your hematology Moodle page, you will find a link to the Cell Bowl. There'll be a title or a tab labeled Cell Bowl 2024. And for my JV team, which is the first year students, we have two different teams for Western Piedmont. We have the JV team, which is the first year students, and we have the varsity team, which is our second year students, which are at clinicals, and those are the students that played last year. Okay, so our JV team are our new students that are playing for the very first time. So if you're in hematology, you'll find it in MLT 120 down at the bottom of your hematology Moodle page. Okay, there'll be the tab, and then you'll have a Cell Bowl high score screenshot link for week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like I said, we're going to play for 4 weeks. So each week that you play, you're going to take a screenshot of your high score. Now, as you're playing each game, I would go ahead and take a screenshot of each time you play, just in case that's your high score. Because maybe you play this time and you get 20 out of 30, but then you play 3 or 4 more times that week, but then you never score a 20 again. Well, you want to make sure that you have the screenshot of that 20 out of 30 versus a 10 out of 30. Okay, so take that screenshot, make sure that it's saved in a format like a JPEG that you can submit in Moodle. Click on this link, and you're going to submit it just like you submit any other assignment. Okay, the screenshot. Now, for each week, it'll tell you when you need to have it submitted by. Each week, we're going to have to submit our Cell Bowl scores by Wednesday. I need them by Wednesday because I have to submit our high Cell Bowl scores to the National Cell Bowl by Thursday. Okay, so this first week, our first Cell Bowl score will be due on Wednesday, October the 2nd. Okay, the next week will be Wednesday, October the 9th for the second week of play, third week, the 16th, the fourth week, the 23rd. Okay, and you'll just be going to each one of those links each week and submitting your screenshot of your high score just like any other assignment. I wanted to show you an example of what your screenshot will look like that you'll be submitting to your Moodle link. So this is an example of a screenshot that someone has taken with their cell phone after they have completed the Cell Bowl quiz on the Cellovision Cell Atlas app. So once the 60 seconds is up and they've tried to identify all 30 images, this person got a score of 27 out of 30 images identified correctly, and it'll give you this pie chart. So this is the image that I'm needing or wanting to be submitted in that Moodle link each week. So this is what I need, because I'm going to have these images or these screenshots so I can submit these screenshots to the National Cell Bowl. So this is what I'm looking for, because this is what I need to submit to the National Cell Bowl. The last thing I want to show you guys is just a few highlights from our Cell Bowl party last year. We actually had a lady from the paper in Morganton come out and do an article on us because we ended up scoring so well in the Cell Bowl last year. And this is an image of the article that she did on us. And this is some of our students from last year and our top scorers from last year. That's just an image of us, or the image that went into the paper. Here's some of the students getting ready to party. There's some artwork. There's everybody eating. We usually do a potluck for the Cell Bowl party. Everybody kind of brings in food to share. There's everybody enjoying food. There's Miss James. There's Miss Berry. She was our dean. She was speaking to the group. Here's some of our high scorers receiving their certificates. So it's just a really good opportunity to learn your sales, learn them in a fun way, get to compete in a national competition, and also have our program recognized nationally and locally. So it's just a good time. So with all that being said, have fun with the Cell Bowl. I encourage everybody to do their best. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. I hate we didn't get to meet in class this week to kind of go over things together, but hopefully this video will kind of help guide and show you exactly how to get your first Cell Bowl submission or screenshot submitted into Moodle. And I will see you guys a little bit later. Bye.